This isn't just about what America eats. This is about where America eats. Alabama. Rattlesnake Saloon, Tuscumbia. In a stunning example of utilizing karstic geology for hospitality, Alabama's Rattlesnake Saloon is situated beneath a colossal 15,000 square foot rock outcropping in the Appalachian foothills. Diners eat semi-outdoors, under the protective overhang of the natural stone bluff. The location merges rugged wilderness with localized culinary traditions, often accessed by patrons via horseback. Alaska. The Hangar on the Wharf, Juneau. Built inside a decommissioned aircraft hangar, this restaurant embraces Alaska's heavy geographical reliance on bush plains. With expansive views of active seaplanes landing and cruise ships docking, the industrial scale of the hangar reflects the immense utilitarian nature of Alaskan transit. Arizona. Caverns Grotto, Peach Springs. Located 200 feet below the surface within the Grand Canyon Caverns, this is arguably the most logistically extreme restaurant in the nation. Food is prepared above ground, sent down an elevator shaft, and hoisted via a mechanical pulley to a raised platform. The cavern is a dead cave with zero humidity, a sterile, silent, 72-degree environment with 360-degree geological views. Arkansas. The Vault 1905 Sports Grill, Van Buren. Located in a pre-Civil War structure, this building possesses a staggering history. Originally a Cherokee trading post and general store, it was seized by Union troops to serve as a hospital, later became a Masonic lodge, and finally a bank in 1904. Today, the heavy 1905 bank vault serves as the dining room centerpiece. It is an architectural palimpsest, layering indigenous trade history, Civil War medical trauma, and 20th century banking into a single space. California. Carney's, Los Angeles, and Tonga Room, San Francisco. Sitting abruptly on the Sunset Strip, Carney's is housed entirely inside a retrofitted Pacific Railroad passenger train, forcing a linear social interaction that replicates commuter transit. In San Francisco, the Tonga Room features an indoor lagoon where simulated tropical rainstorms periodically erupt, creating a brilliant artificial meteorological event inside a luxury hotel. Colorado. The Airplane Restaurant, Colorado Springs. The centerpiece here is a fully intact 1953 Boeing KC-97 tanker aircraft, with one massive wing penetrating the roof of the adjacent building. Diners eat inside the narrow, tubular fuselage, interacting with the preserved cockpit and paying homage to global aerial refueling missions. Connecticut. Marketplace Tavern, Litchfield. In Connecticut, the Marketplace Tavern expertly juxtaposes 19th century carceral architecture with modern tavern fare. Built in 1812, this formidable structure originally served as a jail for British prisoners during the War of 1812. It operated as a penal institution until the 1990s. Today, diners consume craft beers surrounded by the stark realities of centuries-old confinement. The original jail cells and heavy iron bars on the windows remain entirely intact, creating a profound contrast between modern leisure and historical incarceration. Delaware. Jessup's Tavern, Newcastle. Delaware offers a total historical immersion. Jessup's Tavern functions as a living palimpsest inside an authentic colonial-era building. Patrons dine off rustic metal plates, while served by staff in accurate period costumes. It is an environment engineered to force diners to physically step back into the maritime and colonial history of the eastern seaboard. Florida. The Old Jailhouse, Sanford. Combining historic preservation with elevated dining, the Old Jailhouse operates within a preserved county lockup. The iron bars and heavy brickwork of the original holding cells remain intact, allowing patrons to dine within the exact confines where prisoners were once detained. The open kitchen concept provides a stark contrast to the restrictive nature of the building's original function. Georgia. The Vault Kitchen and Market, Savannah. Situated in Savannah's Starland District, the Vault Kitchen and Market occupies a decommissioned local bank. The adaptive reuse strategy purposefully maintained the bank's recognizable mid-century facade and interior vault elements, recognizing that the structure served as a familiar civic landmark for decades before its transformation into a culinary hub. Hawaii. Mama's Fish House, Maui. Isolated on a secluded beach within a coconut grove, this restaurant operates out of a converted, historic plantation house. The open-air architecture and integration of genuine Polynesian artifacts blur the line between indoor dining and the harsh, beautiful reality of the Pacific coastal environment. Idaho. The Tower Grill, Nampa. Situated directly on the tarmac of the Nampa Municipal Airport, this restaurant merges dining with the physical mechanics of general aviation. The large windows allow diners to experience the kinetic thrust, noise, and visual spectacle of aircraft taking off just feet away. Illinois. Vault 232, Lake Zurich. Located in a restored 1930s state bank, Vault 232 recreates the aura of Depression-era financial institutions. Relying heavily on Art Deco styling, it allows patrons to step back into the rigid, formidable world of 1930s banking, dining in spaces that were once heavily guarded against bank runs and robberies. Indiana. The Exchange, South Bend, and the Log Inn, Hauptstadt. Indiana offers a dual architectural experience. In South Bend, the Exchange and the Vault operate out of a 1913 bank, utilizing the original marble walls to host massive banquets inside a century-old financial fortress. Meanwhile, the Log Inn in Hauptstadt represents pure frontier hospitality. Operating since the 1820s as a stagecoach stop, and having famously served Abraham Lincoln in 1844, it proudly maintains its original log room to this day. Iowa. Teddy's Barn and Grill, Anamosa. Showcasing agrarian adaptive reuse, Teddy's is housed in a restored dairy barn set against the rolling landscapes that inspired iconic artist Grant Wood. The primary dining room is located in the cavernous hayloft. Diners must climb steep stairs to reach this space, emphasizing the rustic, operational authenticity of the historic farming structure. Kansas. Fritz's Railroad Restaurant, Kansas City. Operating since 1954, Fritz's relies on a kinetic, mechanized culinary delivery system. Invented during a severe labor shortage in the 1970s, an intricate network of miniature overhead trains delivers food directly to tables. The restaurant itself is an interactive, mechanical environment where the delivery infrastructure is the primary spectacle. Kentucky. La Cosa Nostra, Danville. Operating in an 1880s bank building, La Cosa Nostra places its premier seating directly inside the antique vault. The thick metallic doorway, complete with exposed gears and heavy glass, encapsulates diners in a highly intimate, secure space. The juxtaposition of rich, creamy Italian carbonara against the cold, sterile steel of a 19th century safe creates a profound sensory contrast. Louisiana. Commander's Palace, New Orleans. For sheer architectural grandiosity, Louisiana offers Commander's Palace. Operating out of an elegant, massive 1893 Victorian mansion painted in an iconic Commander's blue, it serves as a historic temple of traditional New Orleans gastronomy, anchoring the Garden District. Maine. The Spirit Restaurant, Kennebunk. Maine redefines waterfront dining with the Spirit Restaurant. This establishment operates entirely aboard the Spirit of Massachusetts, a 125-foot-long, dry-docked tall ship built in 1984. Serving fresh Maine seafood, the physical sensation of dining on the deck of a massive wooden schooner suspended over the Kennebunk River creates an immersive nautical experience unparalleled in the state. Maryland. Beans in the Belfry, Brunswick. Housed in an ornate, converted 1910 church, this cafe leverages ecclesiastical architecture. The original stained glass windows and soaring wooden ceilings cast colorful, diffused light across the dining room. beautifully repurposing a space of spiritual reverence into a communal gathering site for coffee and live music. Massachusetts. File and Drum Restaurant, Concord. Operating as one of the most sociologically significant restaurants in the country, Massachusetts hosts the Fife and Drum Restaurant. Why? Because it is located inside the active Northeastern Correctional Center. Run strictly as a culinary arts rehabilitation program for incarcerated individuals, civilian patrons must clear security checkpoints and surrender cell phones before entering. Meals cost around $3.25, and tipping is strictly prohibited. This location actively breaks down the psychological barrier between the free public and the penal system. Michigan. Lumberman's Vault, Muskegon. Housed in a 1962 bank building, this food hall centers entirely around liquid assets, a bar constructed directly around a massive 6,680-pound bank vault door. The sheer tonnage and mechanical complexity of the steel door acts as a brutalist centerpiece, commanding the spatial flow of the entire establishment. Minnesota. Choo Choo Restaurant and Bar, Loretto. Designed to replicate a historic train station, this restaurant features an authentic rail caboose integrated directly into the interior dining room. The massive iron and wood presence of the train car, enclosed inside a conventional building, creates a jarring but charming spatial anomaly. Mississippi. Mary Mahoney's Biloxi. Operating in one of the oldest standing homes in America, dating back to 1737, Mary Mahoney's offers a profound immersion into antebellum architecture. The centuries-old oak trees and exposed brick root the fine dining experience deeply in the layered history of the Gulf Coast, having survived centuries of hurricanes and societal shifts. Missouri. Cave Bar and Grill, Lake Ozark. Missouri, geologically known as the Cave State, hosts this remarkable venue built directly into one of the state's 6,400 natural caves. Featuring a large swimming pool extending from the waterfront into the cavern, the thermal properties of the rock offer a natural geothermal respite during the brutal summer months. Montana. The Bank Bar and Vault Restaurant, Wilsall. Located in the remote landscape of Montana, this establishment repurposed the town's original bank. It turns the secure, masonry-heavy bank vault into the town's central culinary gathering place, highlighting a rural reliance on preserving historic civic infrastructure. Nebraska. Alpine Inn, Omaha. The Alpine Inn offers an unintended but deeply fascinating biological spectacle. Set in a wooded area, diners observe as scores of wild raccoons emerge from the forest at dusk to scavenge discarded chicken scraps. It uniquely integrates local wildlife scavenging as a core, celebrated component of the dining ambiance. Nevada. Ponderosa Saloon, Virginia City. This fully functional historic saloon sits atop an operational 1860s bank vault and an actual underground silver mine shaft. In an act of extreme adaptive reuse, the owners dug a tunnel from the bar directly into the abandoned mine. Patrons can drink a beer and then descend into the earth to explore 19th century mining equipment. New Hampshire. The Little Red Schoolhouse, West Campton. Elevated geographically and historically, this New Hampshire eatery is housed in an authentic historic schoolhouse. Maintaining the rustic, wood-paneled charm of 19th century New England academia, it successfully transforms a space of historical agrarian discipline into a nostalgic, high-volume seasonal eatery. New Jersey. Felina, Ridgewood. New Jersey elevates Italian cuisine through the imposing architectural setting of Felina. Occupying a neoclassical historic bank, the design highlights the inherent grandeur of mid-century financial institutions. The restaurant utilizes the original, preserved bank vault to create a private dining space that exudes both opulence and absolute security. New Mexico. Underground lunchroom, Carlsbad Caverns. Located an astonishing 750 feet below ground, this lunchroom has served tens of millions of visitors since the 1920s. The introduction of human food, lighting, and moisture into this deep cave ecosystem remains highly controversial today, representing the ongoing tension between heritage tourism and strict geological preservation. New York. Trinity Place, New York City. Buried deep in the Manhattan Financial District, Trinity Place operates inside a pristine 1904 bank vault commissioned by the New York Realty Bank. The vault features two massive 35-ton steel doors, so heavy they had to be sailed down the Hudson River. Restored in 2006, the 5-inch thick steel walls remain exposed, highlighting the extreme fortification methods of early 20th century banking right in the shadow of New York's Gothic skyscrapers. North Carolina. Iron Key Brewing Company, Columbus. Iron Key Brewing has successfully transitioned an abandoned North Carolina state prison into a vibrant culinary destination. The original prison dining hall has been preserved, and the outdoor yard where inmates once exercised under armed guard now serves as an expansive beer garden. North Dakota. Space Aliens, Bismarck. Abandoning historical preservation in favor of extreme kitsch, Space Aliens operates under a massive, domed ceiling. The interior is a sensory overload of extraterrestrial statues and planetary models, painstakingly mimicking the aesthetic of a mid-century B-movie science fiction film set. Ohio. Heist Plus Co., Harrison. Situated inside a former bank that was actually robbed in its past, Heist Plus Co. playfully leans into outlaw lore. Diners can book the interior of the fully functional vault, sitting on lounge recliners amidst heavy steel. They even offer an investment program, granting patrons access to a private safe deposit box. Oklahoma. The Vault, Tulsa. A striking example of mid-century modern preservation, the vault operates out of the former 1950s First National Auto Bank. The distinct space-age architecture of the mid-century drive-through banking era provides a retro-futuristic backdrop for modern dining, supplemented by a late-night cocktail room. Oregon. Vault 244, Albany, and Wheelhouse and Crow's Nest, Bandon. Occupying an 1895 bank building, Vault 244 leans heavily into late 19th century financial grandeur. On the coast, the Wheelhouse and Crow's Nest offers panoramic views of the Coquille River and the historic Bandon Lighthouse, seamlessly integrating Oregon's maritime navigational history with seafood dining. Pennsylvania. Catacombs at Boob's Brewery, Mount Joy. Descending 43 feet below street level, diners at Pennsylvania's Catacombs enter a subterranean cavern originally utilized for aging beer in the 19th century prior to modern refrigeration. The environment maintains a constant chill and an eerie, echoing acoustic profile, offering a sensory experience that feels entirely detached from the modern, sunlit world above. Rhode Island. Coast Guard House, Narragansett. Perched precariously on the rocky shoreline of Narragansett Bay, the Coast Guard House occupies an authentic 1888 U.S. Coast Guard station. This restaurant offers a visceral dining experience where patrons can watch powerful Atlantic waves literally crash against the granite foundation of the dining room, harmonizing high-end seafood with the untamed, kinetic energy of the ocean. South Carolina. The Ordinary, Charleston. Taking residence in a historic bank building on King Street, The Ordinary utilizes the massive arched windows and immense vertical volume of the financial institution to create a bustling seafood hall. The grandeur of the banking hall amplifies the acoustics, giving the restaurant a vibrant, brasserie-like atmosphere. South Dakota. The Treasury, Sioux Falls, and Alpine Inn, Hill City. Access to the Treasury requires guests to walk through the threshold of a massive 16-ton bank vault door in a hotel lobby, providing a dramatic, tactile entry. Across the state in Hill City, the Alpine Inn operates in an 1883 hotel, a remnant of the Black Hills tin mining boom from an era when the town was so rough it was nicknamed 1 Mile of Hell. Tennessee. Warden's Table Restaurant, Brushy Mountain. Located directly on the grounds of the historic Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary, a notorious former maximum security prison, the Warden's Table offers a visceral connection to the state's penal history. Diners consume their meals in the shadows of the imposing prison walls, safely observing the bleak architectural reality of high-security confinement. Texas. The Magic Time Machine, San Antonio. A surreal departure from standard dining, this restaurant heavily compartmentalizes its space into eccentric, thematic vignettes. Breaking down standard spatial norms in favor of highly stimulating micro-environments, diners might find themselves seated inside a retrofitted school bus or a functioning carousel, served by waitstaff in full theatrical character. Utah. The Yurt at Solitude Mountain Resort. Requiring active physical exertion to access, this Mongolian-style yurt is hidden deep in a snowy alpine forest. Diners must physically cross-country ski or snowshoe to reach it. The total absence of modern electricity and reliance on wood-burning heat creates a primal, survivalist luxury experience. Vermont. Casey's Caboose, Killington. Operating out of a retrofitted historic train car, Casey's Caboose preserves the kinetic energy of the American Railroad era. The narrow tubular architecture dictates an intimate, linear seating arrangement that mimics the spatial constraints of 19th century rail travel, offering a heavily nostalgic atmosphere amid the snowy peaks of Vermont. Virginia. The Vault at the Liberty Trust, Roanoke. Located inside the Grand Liberty Trust building, this restaurant utilizes the historic bank vault as an elite wine tasting room. The space integrates modern wine dispensing technology within the impenetrable steel of the antique safe, optimizing the vault's naturally stable temperature for preservation while offering an atmosphere of exclusivity. Washington. The Vault Wine Bar, Blaine. Situated in a historic bank, this restaurant uses the original vault as an intimate seating area. The owners actively gamify the space. The vintage safe deposit boxes contain hidden prizes like silver dollars and bottles of wine, turning the mechanical function of the bank into an interactive experience. West Virginia. The Vault on Main, Summersville. Occupying the historic Nicholas Bank building, the Vault on Main incorporates its lineage into every facet. Beneath the main floor lies a speakeasy, physically taking guests into the subterranean levels of the old bank to enhance the atmosphere of secrecy and exclusivity. Wisconsin. The Jailhouse Restaurant, West Bend. Tucked away in a mid-1800s building that originally served a punitive function, this restaurant leverages its carceral history. Surrounded by rural pastures, the heavy timber construction offers a visceral connection to 19th century Midwestern frontier justice, now repurposed for fine dining. Wyoming. Silver Dollar Bar, Jackson Hole. Located inside the historic Wart Hotel, this bar features a serpentine counter intricately inlaid with exactly 2,032 uncirculated 1921 Morgan silver dollars. It is a physical manifestation of frontier wealth with a rich outlaw history. The structure only survived a 1980 fire because local high schoolers physically carried the heavy, coin-laden bar into a nearby bank vault for protection. Which of these 50 locations is your favorite? Would you rather eat 750 feet underground or inside a maximum security prison? Let us know in the comments below.